as promised, I'm going to start doing these little sharing self-care videos, just sharing some tips on how I've helped myself cope with mental health issues. So over the years, pretty much even since childhood, I've had mental health issues. So I've had anxiety, depression and panic attacks. So I'm not going to go into those in this video because I've already made one. So if you want to check out my experiences with mental health, then I'll link the video at the end of this one. So the first thing I just want to talk about is one thing that has really helped me is positive self-talk. Now this is really hard when you're, right in the heart of depression. It's hard to kind of pull yourself out of that. Anything that I say that has helped me, please be reassured that I don't take it lightly. I don't think that it's easy to do, but I am coming from experience. So, and even the things that work for me might not work for you. So I am not professional in these things at all. This is purely just my own personal experiences, and I'm hoping that by sharing them, it might work for some of you. And, that would be awesome. So, yeah, positive self-talk. When you're in the midst of depression, you're always kind of having these what if thoughts going around in your head, and they always seem to be negative ones. What if this happens? What if I go out and I have a panic attack? What if I can't cope with this anymore? What if, just lots of negative what ifs. And that's understandable. You're feeling so lousy. It really is this dark cloud, and anyone who hasn't suffered with depression really struggles to understand it, because why would they? They sometimes can think it's just, oh, I've been sad before, but it's really a lot more than that. So, and I should also add that as well as all these things that I do to help myself cope, I am also on medication and have been for lots of years. So, I'm not trying to suggest that you do these things instead of medication. Like, definitely go see your GP, speak to professionals to help. So yeah, positive self-talk. So I think what really switched it for me was, many years ago, I think I first started the positive self-talk, and I was in the midst of depression at the time. But I'd heard somewhere that if you write down 3 positive things each day, that you can train your brain to be optimistic. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. So that's exactly what I did. And I did it for a whole year. But as well as writing down 3 things, I also wrote down all the other things that was happening. I was a single parent to 4 kids, young kids. So I wrote all the things that was happening with them, and it turned out to be quite funny. And I'd love to get it published one day. Because it turned out to be quite funny, but it was very therapeutic. So as well as training my brain to be more optimistic, which it did, it was also therapeutic to write down all the stuff that was happening and sort of like making sense of it and analysing it, just getting it off my chest really. So that was my first real experience with positive self-talk, and really, really recommend it. And then a few years later, I watched The Secret. And I know The Secret isn't for everyone, it can be a bit airy-fairy, but for me, I really, really enjoyed it. It's pretty life-changing for me, to be honest. So The Secret is based on the law of attraction. What you put out to the universe, you get back. So if you're putting out lots of positives, then positives will come back to you. I know some people, it just doesn't sit well with some people, but for me, it works. So I started practicing that, and started thinking of positive things, and, so I'd applied for a scholarship to do my Masters and my PhD, and it was Scotland-wide. Instead of previous years, I'd have been like, oh, there's no way I'm going to get this, there's too many people applying, it's not going to happen. But I didn't. I was like, I'm going to get this PhD. I am absolutely will be doing a PhD. I'm going to be Dr. Graham one day. I'm going to get the scholarship. And yeah, I got the scholarship. So I'm still doing the PhD, mind you, but just due to illness. But that just started happening. And I did the same for moving to this house. So I was in a flat. Due to my illnesses, I really needed an adapted property. And I just kept visualising living in this house. I would visualise the bedroom, looking out the windows. I'd visualise the cars driving up at night and how the light would go round from the blinds, it would go around the room. I visualised sitting out in the garden with a cup of tea, sitting at the table in the living room looking out the window. Lots of things I just visualised in this house, and I got the house. And, you know, some people might say, oh, it's just coincidence, but, you know, it makes you kind of go out there and try and make these things happen as well. So rather than just leaving it to chance, it makes you be a bit more proactive. So, you know, I send endless emails to the housing department because I wanted it so bad. And, you know, if you want it, then go get it. So that has really helped me, and I use that with lots of things. Lots and lots of things in life I use the law of attraction. So I really recommend that. It really did make such a difference to my life, such a positive difference. And then even when I first got ill, I was in bed a lot, and I think even before then, you know, when I was suffering from anxiety and I was teaching, before I even got out of bed in the morning, I'd be like, right, today's going to be a good day, you're going to have a really great day, everything's going to go really well, you're going to feel relaxed and comfortable, and I would always have a good day. So same with money. If I'll be like, don't stress, money's going to come. My friend and I used to talk about this years ago actually, because it's true. You know, if you focus on the, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm not going to have enough money to do this, or how am I going to manage to pay this? But we used to always say, don't stress it, money will come. And it's just always been the case. So lots of positive self-talk really helps. And even then changing those what ifs into positive what ifs. So what if I go out and absolutely have an amazing time? What if I go out and meet new friends? You know, changing it around rather than focusing on the negatives. So it really is training your mind to be optimistic. And you kind of have to put the work in, because, you know, your mind isn't going to start being positive all on its own. Like I think that's one of the things with depression. It can be so easy to keep spiraling and keep going down that negative path. And it's not a judgment there at all. I've done it so much. But there came a point where I was like, the consequences of me doing this over and over is that the path's never going to change. I'm going to keep going down this same path. So the effort has to be put in, and it is an effort. You know, I don't underestimate it at all. It is an effort, but it's an effort that's worth it for you and for people around about you. So even just simple things now, and I think even getting ill made me even more appreciative of the simple things in life. So, you know, if you have a cup of tea, I'll say out loud, oh, that was such a lovely cup of tea. Or if I eat something good, I'll be like, oh, that dinner was just so amazing. Even if I'm in the room on my own, it's just reinforcing those positive messages when you say them out loud. Like, oh, the sun feels really nice on my skin today, or, you know, this garden's looking lovely. You know, I did that. So it's just all these little things that can really make such a big difference. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So yeah, I'd say start, even if you make one little change, even if the only change you make for now is every morning before you get out of bed, just say, today's going to be a good day. And believe it, really believe it. It can really be that whole fake it till you make it. So it worked for me. When I first started writing down my 3 positives each day, you know, I started off with silly things like, you know, I only ate 2 biscuits rather than a whole packet, because that would always make me feel worse after eating loads of chocolate or stuff that I shouldn't have eaten. So I would just write little things like that down. But then eventually it becomes more meaningful and more, you know, actually, I did this today. I managed to get 4 children up and off to school, and I did that all by myself, and then I got the house all lovely and clean for them coming home, fed them all. You know, that's a big thing. And I think it's not to underestimate all these everyday things that people take for granted. It's hard work being a mother, it's hard work being a parent, you know, especially when you're dealing with mental health issues. So give yourself a break, really reward yourself, appreciate yourself for all the things that you do in everyday life. So yeah, that's my first sharing self-care thought for you, and I hope it helps. I'll aim to do one every week. Take care, and I'll see you next time.